The North against South. Brother against brother. The Civil War is the bloodiest in American history. Victory will take far more than brute firepower on the battlefield. Technology, communications, logistics. It's what happens behind the front line that will ultimately decide this battle for America's future. We are pioneers and trailblazers. We fight for freedom. We transform our dreams into the truth. Our struggles will become a nation, America, the story of us. 1862. The Civil War is at its height. North and South locked in a bitter conflict for the future of America. A new kind of bullet has brought this war to a terrible deadlock, bringing death on a scale never previously seen in warfare. Here at a metalworks in Springfield, Illinois, molten lead is beginning its journey, becoming a lethal instrument of destruction. The bullet known as the mini ball. This crude piece of lead is the primary reason for the unprecedented levels of slaughter in this war. Invented in France, just an ounce in weight and half an inch across, one person can cast 3,000 mini balls an hour. Each one of these simple bullets can rip through a man's body in a fraction of a second. The mini ball is used by North and South alike. Demand for this killer bullet runs so high that an entire industry springs up, supplying mini balls to the front line. In total, the North makes over 500 million mini balls, ready to be fired from the 2 million muskets it supplies to its men.
In many ways, the Civil War was the first modern war because it was the first war that took place after the Industrial Revolution had begun to transform our country.
It will take over 33 hours for a bullet in this box to travel the 800+ miles to the battlefield, ready to find its target. The new musket is much faster to reload than traditional weapons. Load the gunpowder, ram down the bullet, and it's ready to fire.
Imagine warfare where your ability to load a musket faster than the guy with the other musket would determine if you lived or died.
Grooves on the inside of the barrel, rifling, spin the ball toward its target. The improved accuracy and range are a deadly combination.
One second, everything's great. The next second, your buddy's head's gone, or his arm's flying off.
You don't want to know what a soft metal musket ball does when it enters the human body.
On impact, the bullet flattens out. Bone shatters and splinters. Causing further damage to muscle and tissue. More often than not, the result of a direct hit, death. But for all the mini-ball's technological edge, the Army still uses traditional military tactics.
What made it particularly tragic was modern technology meeting much more ancient tactics. So the death rates were truly appalling.
The troops still face one another openly in lines across the battlefield. But the mini-ball is accurate over a range of 600 yards, easily spanning this distance. And it can be reloaded 8 times faster than a traditional weapon. The effects are catastrophic. The kill rate increases dramatically compared to previous wars. Across the battlefield, the results are carnage, blood and death on a previously unseen scale.
They killed each other in droves, in lines, and in piles.
Soldier Alexander Hunter writes,
"One lay on his face with his body almost in 2 parts. Another was shot just as he was taking aim. One eye was still open while the other was closed, and one arm extended in a position of holding his rifle, which lay beside him on the ground."
the troops on both sides must live in the middle of this untold death and suffering. Horatio Chapman records the experience in his diary.
The dead in some places were piled upon each other, and the groans and moans of the wounded were truly saddening to hear. Some were just alive and gasping, but unconscious. Others were mortally wounded and were conscious of the fact that they could not live long.
By the time of the North's final victory, over 600,000 men on both sides are dead, some 2% of the entire U.S. population. In current population terms, that's the equivalent of 6 million people. Almost half of the dead remain unidentified. The fear of dying forgotten on the battlefield leads soldiers for the first time to begin pinning their names and units on their uniforms. These crude, early versions of the dog tag will make it possible to identify their bodies after they're killed. For the first time, America's growing postal service means soldiers can write to their loved ones from the front. With none of today's military censorship, it allows soldiers like Robert Stiles to relay the terrifying realities of life on the front line.
The sights and smells that assailed us were simply indescribable. Corpses swollen to twice their original size. Some of them actually burst asunder with the pressure of foul gases and vapors.
Fueling this carnage lies the deep political animosity that has led to this war.